Chacha Obi Biara Edeba a Daily Trends TV eso ensem a editie o my Ghana eno ena yakeka abomu na yede bre ye tifo yensem re no na yense wadaje no yenko na enkuti ensem no enchemu.
Be the first to know Ensem TV.
Ebishoya Mama Baba Ensem TV so. The former Attorney General Godfrey Odame filed a habeas corpus at the Accra High Court. Now, the habeas corpus application and as well as the Attorney General now, Dominic Akotinga Ayine, Deputy Justice Remsai, and so a filed a challenge earlier ruling by Justice Achibonga, all regarding the case of former Buffer Stock CEO Adu Hanan Wahab. Now, recent development is on July 4th, 2026, a man, Mr. Abdul Hanan Wahab, following court order, so we took out of the country. The SHS so took Kotuka International Airport and Accra International Airport. And Justice Remsai, the police officers be a chain. Now, based on in some or troll on the Facebook post, the chair said, Mr. Abdul Wahab, say or Quaco Eden, I withdraw Sikebi from frozen bank account in Tenoni Munaso and or they call arrested. Government the board that content they say only evidence be already supporting sa allegation. And then two applications now Kakupimo High Court. First one is Godfrey Adame. Godfrey Adame habeas corpus application is police officers or matche and a BNI officers or matche Abdul Hanan Wahab or producing before the Accra High Court. Normal fact justification again court warrant again justification of more so omobache the client even after the Accra High Court the judge Justice Achibonga granted the travel permit so into United Kingdom and London and doctors in Srashe Northern returning to Ghana by 12th of July 2026. Now the second thing you say Dr. Justice Remsai and also the Deputy Attorney General Dominic Akotinga Ayine filed a petition so omukwa appeal the ruling the Accra High Court judge sitting in as a court of appeal judge Justice Achibonga granted Mr. Abdul Hanan Wahab na nkofo bisa say no mo pese mo appeal case na e ban say na mutimi yeden e preventing the panel say onye the untu kwan amra mo appeal case all because of the fear say mo gidi say okwa enya de obesa so ababa appeal. Lawyer Paul Adomoche and Sakan all the latest development regarding this particular case, a proper showdown between the former Attorney General Godfrey Adame and the current Attorney General's office Dominic Akotinga Ayine, all in the case of Abdul Hanan Wahab, the CEO, the former CEO of Buffer Stock Company, Yenjebre Yenkuti. Recent developments.
And so Odame filed the processes against Hanan. I'm going to show you a video of the details of the entire Hanan matter, which was recorded earlier and put out on social media on Monday. But I want my viewers who are not on social media to see. So have a look at this video. Hello viewers, and we're really sorry to come to you with this horrendous story, totally bizarre, standing up rule of law on its head completely. This is a clear violation of everything that lawyers, the Ghana Bar Association, private individual lawyers, academic lawyers, what has happened is turning everything that has been fought for us upside down. I mean, something that we thought we had achieved in Ghana, it looks like we haven't achieved it. Justice Remsai and Dominic Ayine are turning everything upside down. Now, what's the story? This is Hanan and his wife. So, you already know the Hanan story, don't you? So, Hanan was arrested and kept in the BNI cells upon an Iyoko investigation, and they said he had stolen money from Buffer Stock. In one of his uncharacteristic press conferences, the learned Attorney General spent a lot of time explaining to Ghanaians how many wristwatches Hanan had and how many bags allegedly Hanan's wife had and how their home looked like and where the furniture was and all of that. It was quite bizarre, but here was an Attorney General who told the general public all of that, alleging that Hanan had stolen money and that he was going to be able to prosecute him. So he then went to court to prosecute Hanan, didn't he? And in going to court to prosecute Hanan, he had charges. So that's usual. So the charges were sent to the court, and then the prosecution began. And then step by step, Hanan's lawyers, Odame and his law firm, began to dismantle the case of the Attorney General. We came here to tell you that step by step, he was dismantling the case of the Attorney General. One day we woke up in the morning, Srem side, the Deputy Attorney General had announced that they were withdrawing the charges against Hanan and that they were going to bring stiffer charges against him. Everyone wondered that if there were stiffer charges, based on what you said about him in the press conference, you really should have started with those stiffer charges, quote unquote. Okay, so we waited for the stiffer charges. He said it was going to come in 28 hours, it didn't come. 48 hours, it didn't come. 72 hours, it didn't come. Then finally, when it came, it was shocking. Because when the new charges came, the charges had actually been reduced. The amount of money they were looking for from Hanan had actually also been reduced. The bail condition also had reduced. What did it mean? They had gone into their shelf, looked at the charges, and found out that some of the charges that they had preferred against him were based on gossip and hearsay, and that they wouldn't stand the test of the court's standards. So they had to pull them out. We don't know whether at the time Srem Sai was bragging to the general public that he was going to give Hanan stiffer punishments or stiffer charges, that he was aware that the charges that had been preferred were so watery that they had to take some out. He probably didn't know, but he found out anyway. That's still the relation of duty, but forget about that. What has happened now is even worse. So they came back with new charges, and then they went to court. Whilst they were processing the new charges, the lawyers for Odame realized that the witness statement had actually not been signed by anyone, which is wrong. It's a faux pas. It doesn't happen. Okay. So the judge realized it during the case management, which is behind closed doors before they come to open courts. The judge realized and said that you cannot have this. We came here and said it. Srem Sai hired somebody to say that we were wrong. Eventually, we brought the court documents itself, the judge speaking, and then we shut them up completely, that we were very right about it. That's very important. Now, during the first case, it was as part of Hanan's bail conditions. He was not allowed to travel outside the country as part of his bail conditions. He was not allowed to travel outside the country, okay? So they scrapped those charges and brought new charges. And the conversation was that now that they brought new charges, is he allowed to travel out of the country? The view of the court and the law was that to the extent that they have not added that to these new charges, whether he travels out of the country or not will be determined by the court itself. So Hanan said, yes, please make that determination. Now let's see what happens. So this is a court's document. Yeah. Hanan Abdul Wahab, applicant, so order for leave to travel. Upon hearing the affidavits of Hanan of plot number so the motion of notice to travel out of a jurisdiction and supplementary affidavit filed on 24th June 2026 respectively, and an affidavit in response filed by the state on 24th June. So Hanan's lawyers filed an affidavit that they need permission for him to travel from the court. The state on 24th June, the same day, filed an opposition to that affidavit. Let's see what the court said. Okay. Upon hearing the submission of Richard Jembibi Esquire, holding the brief of Godfrey Odame Esquire, counsel for and on behalf of the applicant herein, and Dr. Justice Srem Sai, counsel for and on behalf of the Republic herein, it is hereby ordered that leave is granted A1 applicant to travel to London for an appointment with his obstetrician or something, somebody, for 6th of July 2026. It is hereby further ordered that this order, an applicant's passport, is to be handed over to him. That is, Hanan's passport is to be handed over to him and permitted to travel out of the jurisdiction on or before the 4th day of July 2026. The court goes on, and it is hereby ordered that this order lapses on the 12th day of July 2026, and Hanan is to return the passport to the registry of this court on or before the 14th day of July 2026, given under my hand and the seal of the High Court of Justice Accra this 29th day of June 2026. Doris Dansoa, the registrar, is the one who signed it. My goodness, viewers, this is the order of the court. You saw the details. The court has given the date Hanan can travel, and he has given the date Hanan should return to Ghana. The court has also given the dates for the passport to be returned to the registry of the court. Essentially, what the court has done is that whether Hanan can travel or not, that decision is not that of the Attorney General, it is that of the court. And indeed, in the application that we just looked at, the Attorney General opposed the application of Hanan traveling. So here is TRENZ goes to court, he loses an application. He doesn't come on Facebook and type that I have lost an application. I'm going to show you the very bizarre thing he put out on Facebook relating to this matter. I'm going to show you in a minute. Let's come back to the case, the court document. So the court document shows that the Attorney General was opposed to the decision of the court. The court made a decision at variance with the wishes of the Attorney General. This is what happened. So an Attorney General goes to court and loses an application. Then he tries to use police power to overturn the decision of the court. And that is why we are hearing this morning that a contempt application is being filed against Dominic Ayine and Justice TRENZ for contempt of the High Court, because here was a court who said Hanan can travel. So now watch the drama. So 4th July, Hanan should travel. So Hanan shows up at the airport. He's traveling from the Accra International Airport, formerly the Kotoka. And then what happens? He goes past immigration, and that's the most important place where people can be stopped for movement situations, because there's no police desk at the court as such. There is immigration for those living, there's customs and all of that. But there's police presence there, but there's no police stop that you stop to climb the plane. So you go through immigration. So immigration is where all the security issues are really settled. Hanan goes past immigration. Immigration don't query him. They don't have any orders to query him. He's about to board the flight, and then comes national security that he has been arrested. And he's confused about it because he has a High Court order permission to travel known to the Attorney General, who is the highest legal operator in the country, the principal legal advisor to government under Article 88 of the Constitution. So the Attorney General, who is the highest law person, he's the leader of the bar as well, knows that I'm traveling. What's the problem? He's confused, but he's arrested. Now see what happens. The one who ordered the arrest, the one who was embarrassed in court by the application, the same side, it was who then comes on Facebook to accept and admit that he has given an order for Hanan to be arrested. When things change in this country, things will be very interesting. When power changes, the deputy attorney sits in his house, then he calls police, go to the airport and arrest Hanan. When he is aware that an application has been filed and the application has been successfully argued, and it was argued against his better wishes and against his counterclaim and counter application, he is aware. But because he is embarrassed and he wants to show power, he sits in his house. Then he makes a phone call to police because John Mahama is the president, and because John Mahama has appointed him, he can call police and the police would have to obey him. We don't want to lose that part. Once the police starts disobeying people like that, then we are in more trouble. So the police must obey him. We agree with that. Because the police must obey him, he takes a phone call and calls the police and says, Hanan is traveling, I've been told, go and arrest him. So he writes,